Hello, and welcome to what will now be the penultimate session of this Free from the Yoke Samurai Fantasy game. We'll be playing again next week. We are in the middle of a project for our clans and our characters, and the situation is not looking great for our uh, delightful emperor. There is only one progress marked. There are two doom marked. One of the wishes that we had last time was to push that forward, possibly doom wise, to see how that works out. Turmoil is creeping up on control, and if that exceeds it, that will be another tick on the doom track. Last time we ended with several, how do I put this, goals given to you by the Empress, and kind of seeing where things go was the general wishes. Um, and there was also the idea of figuring out about the zoom in that we'd like to do for this session. We talked about starting out with a zoom in. The previous one we had done was which one was
Speaking to dragons.
that speaking to dragons, and that was sort of pushed by Masaru, I believe. So uh, let's let's kind of come to that and check in with the clans and see if you have a character move or to zoom in, or a clan move you'd like to carry out. I know that all of you have threats that are kind of outstanding. I think the one that we had kind of talked about was was the question of the mirror and the missing daimyo for the silver lily, or the glass iris for the missing city. And I think we see the three of you again. This is a different place that you've gathered. It is, uh, I believe, not uh, uh, you are in the Helpine clan. So you're in their lands. Imagine that this place is very Spartan, uh, very Spartan, but also weird decorations and markers and things to ward off evil and stuff. And this is very much Macbeth's castle, if you will. The leader, everyone knows that he's kind of mad, but no one is saying anything. And there's a real tension, a real worry that something might happen here. And definitely the emperor, the empress is a little more holed up, perhaps, than she would be. So it's a weird set of tensions. But the three of you meet in a garden. What's different about this garden scene this time, uh, Masaru? What do you think we see here? I can't hear you.
Must have knocked the
Yeah.
physical mute on my mic. Right. Yeah. So I think that this garden is very very rocky. Parts of it are that kind of sort of very formally arranged gravel and the like. But it is also just has like a lot of jagged crags of rocks placed throughout it, or possibly some of them even naturally occurring in the space, with kind of dark fir trees kind of sprouting up around it, obviously dappled with snow at the moment. So yeah, it has a much more, to a a trained eye would certainly see that this garden is as much a kind of uh, laid out and cultivated garden as sort of any in the lands of the Silver Lily, but it's very much more in that sort of landscape sense rather than the plantings and the plants themselves.
So I imagine that we see Masaru there in the garden. We've got a light snowfall on pine there. And just so we echo the last time, I think we see Makiko. Um, is Makiko still optimistic and chipper, or is has Makiko's appearance and attitude changed? Like, what do we think we see from Makiko?
Oh, I think that some of the naivete has been knocked off Makiko very swiftly since the last court. Um, the Tower of Tumbling Waters has succumbed to possession by dark spirits. Her master, um, ancient master Ro, is ill, and we didn't flesh it out, but one of the things about one of the choices I made was that how your connection is suffering by fulfilling Master Ro's demand that I recover some fragments of the ancient library. My twin Kyoji and I are mystically bound together, and he will suffer during my absence. So the fact that I've spent much of the last year away means that he is suffering and is currently confined.
So well, we will see you. You will see Masaru, who you haven't seen in a number of months, there in the garden. Do you think it's you that calls out, or is it Masaru that sees you?
I think I'll approach Masaru if that's okay. And it's last time they met, I think I threw my arms around Masaru to say, "Oh, you're here! It's wonderful." This time, it's very much. I'm very worried about life, really, I'm beginning to think that perhaps my view of the world is entirely wrong. Has been How could I believe all those optimistic feelings that I had back then?
I think kind of Master has obviously been writing something and just kind of takes a moment to just finish the last few brush strokes and sort of puts the brush down before sort of turning to you and saying, I do not think that you are wrong to have hope, but Makiko, but the more experience you have in the world, the more you will learn not all of those hopes will come to see fruition. The best you can do is put in effort where you can and try not to let things drag you down too much.
But everything's going wrong. From what I understand, the Empress's plans are not going well. The my clan is in a degree of chaos. And how can you have any optimism in these circumstances?
If it is any consolation, and slim it might be, but think how much worse things would be if you simply stood back and did nothing.
I hope so.
I like to imagine that again, like last time, we see Kazeori kind of having overheard this conversation, maybe been present listening for a bit longer. Kaze, what has been your attitude here in the hold of the Helpine clan, who have really kind of stepped on the toes of the Quartz Oak?
Kazayori is in disguise as a member of the Helpine clan. Given that our champion, did everybody no, but it's foolishly just put my link to my notes in there rather than write his name down so I could remember it. But our champion, Risuga Yori, speaks for the clan today in the absence of the Goda Hisato, our daimyo. And yeah, Kazayori has been observing perhaps well, there is a conspiracy of corruption within the land. The twisting breath, is carried in many lungs, hidden in secret, breathed only silently in enclosed spaces. And is it not curious that the Helpine clan gained favor in the eyes of the Empress just as our daimyo disappeared? And perhaps I think that Kasayori is looking to investigate such a corruption, and perhaps we'll find some evidence one way or the other.
That seems fair. So are you revealing yourself quietly to Mikiko Masaru? Are you kind of keeping your distance?
I think there's no. I don't think my clan's priorities currently don't lie aligned. I do want to do the solidarity move and offer a morale boost.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how that triggers in terms of the when you when you offer comfort a group or faction suffering misfortune, you raise one of their needs for which you have a surplus, but you keep your surplus. It occurs to me that this might be the time for a sterling speech to the character of the glass iris, and remind them of the trials and tribulations that we must overcome. But otherwise, I do that. I guess I'd do that.
Let's do that. Do you change before you step out, or do they see the kind of the revelation of you as a Helpine person?
I think it's a Helpine warrior, wearing armor, like big and bulky, with like a thing, and just sits heavily down next to Makiko and Masaru, grunts, and says, foolish child, how do we have hope? Because that is what honor demands of us, because that is what the times demand of us. How would we ever face the darkness if we were to fall into it with such ease? Your clan and our clan, and all the great clans have faced such tribulations before and have come through. And when we lost our emperor, a new one took its place. To the many scattered vagabonds of the empire came forth a new hope. And it is our duty, our task, our honor to carry it forwards and to and have faith. The tower may have fallen into its hands, but it will be reclaimed. And then we'll just lean back and tilt the sort of the samurai face mask kind of thing that she's wearing slightly up, and says, "But have you not spoken? Have you not made an allies and communed with dragons themselves?"
How do you do that?
If you seek to retake the tower, I have faith that the one who could make a bargain with something as powerful as a dragon, we were able to reclaim their home and cleanse the tumbling waters forever.
That makes me feel much better, Sayori. Thank you. I only wish that one of your surpluses matched one of my needs.
In your time of effort, it does though. Morale.
Does it?
I have a surplus of morale.
He
I,
does not
I
have
don't
You
I
had
don't
a
have
need
need
of
morale.
morale. You had a need of morale that
I
we.
cancelled a pair out.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that that happened when I accepted your task for the ritual learning thing, and then I realized that I hadn't actually chosen a ritual, and we sort of went back and did it because you had a need for respect and morale, I think, at the time.
Okay, I've counted erased.
Yes. I
But
think
yeah,
that makes sense because we did hit that kind of weird bump where we rolled back a bit there.
yeah, because I was like, wait, I don't have any rituals. The one ritual that I want is the one that you would have taught me. So yeah. But the Silver Lily, I'm not sure has a surplus of morale. Yeah, we definitely somebody had a need for morale last time because I remember going over it at the end of the session and saying I really want to use my morale to do that move. Anyway, sorry,
Well,
maybe
no, you used the move. That's fine.
Yeah.
I no longer have a need for morale. I'm very happy.
So let me ask you this. Kazayori, is this the time that you ask your friends to help with the investigation, or is it Makiko? Do you turn your attention to that? Like, which zoom in do we want to do here? We might do both, but which one do we want to do first?
I think there's no question that Makiko is afraid of the tumbling waters. Better the devil you don't know in this case. So if we want to go rescue a daimyo, that's fine by me.
Kazayori, are you going to ask them for help?
I've come to you, Makiko, though, for one here in the Helpine clan's good grace. You are learned for a young one, and you know your rituals. I would seek your aid in conducting one.
I would be happy to help.
Our daimyo is lost, and the what's it called again?
The Sundered Mirror?
No, we must listen for our daimyo's words upon the echoes of the breeze. And that's what I'm asking for help with is an assist role basically with the ritual because I don't believe I'm particularly good at rituals.
Yeah, no, that works for me.
For my notes, what was it that the Silver Lily was tasked with doing again?
I've completely forgotten as well. I went in to look at your notes and I was like, curses.
I don't think you were tasked with anything.
No.
I think you actually were kind of ignored a little bit in the end. Was at 6 minus.
Oh no, that's right. Yes,
Yes.
that's right. I was. Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have any. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yep. Yeah. That's I remember now.
The other clan stole your fish out from under you.
Indeed. Indeed.
I don't know to say that rather than just I missed it.
Yeah. So let's go to that ritual because it's kind of a sort of a separate move.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't feel like it can't be done here in the Helpine clan's grounds, during this.
So this is a legacy ritual, which means it's a ritual that Shugenja can always enact their clan's legacy ritual with advantage. So are you asking for Makiko
Mhm.
to carry out that that ritual?
Yeah, I think that makes more sense, doesn't it? As a thing, like I have a law of -1. Cassiori is not and the Shigenya. And you are a Shigenya. So yeah, I think that makes perfect sense to do so. Uh,
So Makiko, we cut to you somewhere else with Masaru. I assume you are present just to kind of echo the scene. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah. Tell me, Makiko, what what does that require? Rituals are big magics. Are you in a shrine? Are you outside? Or in a prepared space? What do you think we see here?
This would probably be better in a shrine, but we don't have access to one in the immediate vicinity, or not an important enough one. And so I think probably, I'm imagining that we've got these coniferous wood forests running up through hills to these snow-capped mountains. So I think probably we find ourselves on a hilltop. It's a snowy hilltop. The conifers kind of lap up the hill but don't quite reach the top. Because here it's not just the breeze, it's the wind, and the wind is howling through those high mountains. But the thing about this ritual, the thing about got its name, Echoes of the Breeze, is that echoes require multiple voices. Echoes are multiple voices. And so there is a sense in which having the others with me to echo my words is a way of amplifying whatever your daimyo may be trying to tell us. Yeah, because when your character announces, you may open communication with any willing participants or group of gathered, regardless of distance across the empire. So we're hoping that when we call, he will answer.
So you're a Shugenja. This is a legacy ritual, which means you automatically roll it with advantage. You also have a choice of one of the two following benefits. You can either say, I'm just going to take a 7 to 9 and not roll. Or you can do the ritual and suffer no bane. You roll.
I think this has to be by the book. So
Okay.
make the roll in the hope of avoiding a bane.
Absolutely.
So rolling 3d6, law is 2, so the best of these three. 7 plus 2 is a 9.
Okay. So that is a 7 to 9. So the benefit for the legacy is you've chosen to not suffer a bane. You get to choose one of those blessings.
Yes. Oh.
It is going to do this ritual.
Okay. Is it too late? I'm just wondering whether a call for aid might be worthwhile trying here.
That's not a bad thing, because
it
it
would be
does.
nice to get this to 10, and it would fit with the narrative idea of
it would. It
people.
would. I was just looking at if they fail, your result drops to a 6 minus. But let's do it anyways, because I think I finished off that last session by going, you know what, it can all fall into hell, and that's a good story as well. So,
so plus an appropriate stat, and I guess unless someone's got a really good reason why it shouldn't be law, maybe I should have looked at what people's law is. I think then if Masaru is there, then I think probably it is that bit of help that I am seeking. The force is strong in this one.
Yeah. So Masaru, what is your lore?
My lore is +1.
Oh, good.
don't let me twist your arm, David. If you don't want to step into the breach, that's
No,
I'm
no,
calling. You
that's
need an
fine.
answer.
That is unfortunately a fail.
That is a fail.
Okay. Oh, hang on. You have relevant backstory with me, don't you?
That is true.
Would you allow us to put another roll a separate d6, Lowell, and see if it's perhaps at least a 3?
Sure. Though I was all excited about my hard move.
It is not.
It is not.
It is not. So let me check one thing here. Pull something up just to be sure. So I think we see you casting that magic. We see the invocation. It is a spell of air and wind, and I think that air and that wind around you, the leaves rise up from the ground, the pine needles in the air, and kind of carry. And you've done this ritual before or participated in this ritual before, Makiko, and you will immediately realize that this does not feel like that. And you will feel your strength go out and your words go out and go out farther than you could have imagined. And you'll feel yourself connected to the other realm. You can tell that you have moved through this sundered mirror and have reached out into that and are connected to it. And I think that you will see that there is a figure seated there on a throne, and there is a ghostly retinue around them, and they are dressed in the, how do I put this, the livery, the outfit of the quartz oak, and they will look up and you look into their eyes and they are not the daimyo. They are, something else is inside of them. And they say, invite us in.
No, I refuse.
Kazeyore, I know you can hear me. I am your daimyo. Call me back home.
Kazuyori, don't do it. Don't do it. They are corrupt.
It is what the Empress has commanded of us.
It's not your Daimu. Your Daimu is but a shell within which this sits. Don't do this. Besaru, tell him. Tell him. Her.
I think Kasayori will. God, I'm so tempted to just say yes. I invite you in. But I think out of fear for her allies, she will bite it aside and she will just bow her head and say, "I have failed you, Daimyo."
Yes, you have. When I return, I will repay this debt. And then the flow is cut off.
Makiko collapses on the snowy ground. with her hair attractively splayed out around her.
I think, though, Kazayori, there is a benefit to this ritual. Is I think that your visions, your voices, your minds went, and I think you know where that sundered mirror is now.
Hello, the Alpine clan's fortress, of course. No, no.
No, but deep in the southern part of these woods.
Oh, the
Close
school.
by the fallen school.
Yeah, maybe perhaps it's something as poetic as like through the mirror. Like the mirrors everywhere within this shadow realm. The moon disappearing from behind clouds. The school of the hidden moon. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um. Yeah. I would like. I think that fictionally the characters, if not the clans, I think owe each other something. So Kasayori will bow to Makiko and Masaru and say, "You evaded me at great cost and a great risk. My clan, I cannot speak for my clan, for the champion in the absence of our daimyo leadership is lost, but my aid, my sword, my skills are yours. I think I would like to maybe mark my character thing as my character playbook and go Ronin. I think is
Absolutely.
the appropriate
Yeah.
thing there.
And it's not literally necessarily Ronin. That's more of a descriptive term, so you're not necessarily considered Ronin. But yeah, I think you can do
radical,
that.
radical,
Radical. Okay. Yeah, you overstep your brief.
Yeah.
Who do you know who might help you? Like, who are just fucking crazy enough to go with you into the sundered mirror?
I don't think it's the champion because he's pretty happy to not have the daimyo around, even though he's of my family. Who do I know is crazy enough to do so? I'm kind of tempted to say these vagabonds who protected the Empress because they're so like badass manga kind of group of wandering warriors. Yeah, either that or the Shujenya of the Last Hope City seeking to redeem themselves.
Which one do you want?
I think I really like the idea of the Empress's band of wandering warriors. Most of all, I'm just not sure if that oversteps the mark of it.
No, I think what that is to get them to go with you. You have to go and talk to our imperial agent.
To the magistrate.
Yeah. So let's do some character/clan movement, and we'll come back to maybe that conversation on that. Sort of in the aftermath of this, or during this, if we want to do a clan move. Masaru, what would you like to resolve?
Yeah, that's there is actually just one thing I just wanted to double check in first. Sure. Again, apologies if for my poor memory, but do we know is it, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, do we know who was supposed to have had the sundered mirror, or was that still unknown?
Now, I think we've only kind of heard of this object. It's been kind of spoken of in legend, supposedly lost. You suspect now that maybe when that school fell, maybe they were the protectors of it. And with their fall, the knowledge of it kind of also was lost.
That's cool. I was just seeing if I could potentially direct my Hand of the Emperor move, but like I said, I don't think I know anyone to target with it, so that is fine. In which case, I think kind of we cut away to a much less dramatic scene, or at least a lot less threatening a scene.
Right.
In the again in the sort of the side rooms and sort of tea rooms of the winter court, where just a few courtiers are saying, well, of course it really is terrible what the Sunken Rose family have been up to. They used to be so respectful, but now to hear they have become nothing more than common pirates. And I'm going to use my clan alliance move to condemn their lack of proper ritual and civility, so they can choose to either give me an influence as they ask for advice, or lose an influence over a faction due to the embarrassment caused.
I think that because they don't have much pull over other clans, that when you subject them to this, that they are forced to very publicly come to you and ask publicly for your advice on artistic matters and so on, and give you an influence over them. That you are the masters of the empire, the keepers of civility intact. We have lost our way, perhaps, and only you and yours can assist us. As they do that in that way that they are kind of admitting your superiority. Seem fair?
Yep, absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
And do you want to use that influence immediately to do something?
I will use it to take that fish right back.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, the way that obviously kind of as part of their apologies, they obviously, apologize for all the misunderstandings and there was obviously some confusion over the shipping of the this great bounty that we harvested together, and it was merely misassigned.
An oversight.
Yes, oversight.
Yeah, and so they will hand that livestock surplus to you.
Excellent.
Makiko, what about for yourself or for your family?
I think the clan has to undertake some. I think this is about surreptitiously setting some magical bounds around the Temple of Tumbling Waters. Because I'm looking at subterfuge, gain fleeting control of a place or resource that I have to kind of do the proper job on within the year, or it returns to the possession, is what I'm reading. So I think that we are going to try to surreptitiously place some mystical wards around to stop it spreading, and to try and unseat it, make it unstable.
Your Shugenja moving in the bounds into the area that is under control, sneaking into the lower parts of the tower. Absolutely. Let's have you roll with sleight.
Yeah, no, somewhere in here, I think I've got it. I just need to find it. I think I roll with advantage, but I bet I can't find it. Well, there we are. Doctrine. When you use subterfuge and hide your involvement in action, pick an extra option.
Okay.
So, I'm going to roll 3d6 plus sleight, which is 0. So I need all 3d6.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a 9.
Okay.
So on a 7 to 9, generate 1 hold or 2 if you picked a cost from the list below. Well, no. So, because I'm going to get 2, because I get the extra. So,
Well, but here's the thing is,
go on.
That hide your involvement is a pick. So basically what it says is that move allows you to always hide your involvement and keep your regular hold. So if you want that 2 hold, you are going to have to take a cost.
Yeah, I am, aren't I? I see how it works now. Okay.
Race turmoil.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm really feeling a bit.
Absolutely.
I think I'm going to raise turmoil.
That seems perfect.
Yeah. So we have temporary control of the Tower of Tumbling Waters, which I'm hoping puts us in a good position if we decide to launch a proper assault.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that takes care of potentially, if you zoom in, some of the like initial obstacles that would be there. Let me ask you, Kazayori, the meeting that you have with the Imperial Magistrate, do you think that you meet them somewhere out in the Empire? Do you meet them when you're in your lands? Do you go to see them in sort of the temporary Imperial capital? Where do you meet?
I think on the road.
Okay.
As the Imperial retinue makes its way back to the temporary capital from the Hellpine clan. I think a dramatic moment of the magistrate riding his horse with his small band of he has a group of followers, doesn't he? He has undercover. He has a dedicated watch around him, and Kasayori and the Yori twins, of course, stand just waiting by the side of the road and bow deeply towards him.
He is unafraid and will peel off and gently walk his horse over to you.
Noble Tatsu,
one hand is in the sleeve of his hakama, the other hand is here, kind of watching you.
And the Yori twins, I think, kneel next to Kasayori as she bows.
No. It's uncomfortable. Get gestures for them to stand.
Noble Tatsu, the Quartz Oak clan seeks the aid of one such as yourself, of the Imperial Magistrate, of the law in this mortal realm and the heavens. The Sundered Mirror has been found, but we need your help to undertake the task the Empress has set to us.
Let's have you roll cunning.
Yeah, and I think maybe the fictional positioning for this is that with that lack of leadership and the champion's self-interest, it's that I need aid from the Imperial Magistrate to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be cunning.
Yeah.
What move are we talking?
Find common ground under the character moves.
Hang on, let me turn off my VPN so I don't keep getting kicked out of the server.
Yeah.
+1. 7.
7 to 9. He says, I notice that you come directly to me and do not go and speak to the Empress to petition for my assistance. That says to me that you are wanting this to be a little quieter, a little more restrained. You have some worries.
I worry for the leadership of my clan in this time of troubles.
Uh, I think what he is going to very clearly ask you for is for you to tell him the whole story, like reveal everything.
Yeah, they reveal the full agenda here. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that Cassiori's full agenda here is, I think, to the daimyo is lost. His heir may still be saved. Our champion puts his own interests above those of the clan. I seek to fulfill the Empress's wishes, and if I can, to save his heir.
There are some amongst my companions who bridle at the work that they have been given. They are honored to do it, but they also wish a grander adventure. And I know some who are just crazy enough to go with you. But I do have a cost.
Name it, my lord.
I have a son who will come of age soon. And I would have him wed into one of the great clans. Not necessarily you, but you will find him a suitable bride or groom from amongst your people.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to say I don't that if we could roll back it slightly, and the heir to daimyo is female.
Okay.
That I'm Cassiori is willing to say, you know, well, what better honor, what better adventure than for the princess of the Quartz Oak to be rescued from from a fallen realm and to marry her saviors.
I like the way you think. I like this. This is a good plan, and I am honored to be part of it.
Cool. I would like then, I guess, for my zoom in to be, like a specific zoom in to be at some point to be that journey into the Sundered Mirror
Yeah.
with the Imperial Magistrate and perhaps you know, a quick character of some martial strength, given that we're all three nimby pimby sorcerer and civility types.
I think that seems fair. Are all of you good with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Then let's take our first break here. Let's take 10. We'll come back and we'll get that set up. So, Kasayori, we know you're going. Uh, uh, who would also like to go, or who would like to make a quick character, or who would like to play the Emerald Magistrate?
I quite like to go, or I'll play the magistrate.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to go with either the magistrate or a quick character, but I do not think this is particularly Masaru's scene.
Okay. Well, why don't we have you make up a quick character then,
I would
David?
like perhaps to imagine that Masaru sort of offers it, and Cassiari and him just look at each other and go, no.
Well, if you're going to go quick, then David, I'll play the Imperial Magistrate, unless you want the magistrate.
No, I'm good to go with a quick character.
Yeah, I do think that fictionally, Cassiari probably feels as though you have both done enough with that blighted sending ritual. you know.
We are going to fictionally kind of sub in for the magistrate's normal dedicated watch or undercover operatives. Essentially, instead, he has essentially his vagabond fellows, some of those. And for the purposes of this, they have 3 tags. So consider that they are on the table kind of as probably in place of the undercover operatives for the purpose of this. I'm glad you noted that the role change there, because it's always easy to forget that you can do that to change role. What did you take for your advance, Kasayori, when you changed roles?
Oh, I forgot you take an advance. For some reason, in my head, you had to do all of the, you had to tick them all off before you could take an advance.
No.
So for an advance, do you just take one from your playbook?
You can take one from your playbook. You can also take one from another playbook.
Interesting. Interesting indeed. Uh, ba, 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 ba. Assassin's Reign may be good, right? But this feels like a sort of real, classic stepping into the belly of the beast, right? Like, so what would the monk pre? No, that's not right. Shugenya is the one with the magical powers, isn't it? Not
The monk does have some, but they're a little bit more modest.
Yeah, I know. I'm big and yeah, they're more peaceful, aren't they? Uh, the way of ooh. No, those are all interesting. Let's go with it. It's got to be a samurai one, I think, maybe, hasn't it? Um, ba, ba, ba. Gosh. Hey, you know what? Let's go with Scout One and take keen senses and keener reflexes. You can't be surprised by anything short of the intervention of a kami. If attacked, you can always react before the first blow strikes. We attempt to escape a situation ambushed. And I think that means that I think that fits in with her clan fiction, positioning and everything to be an aspect of Cassiari that we have not seen in play because she's typically infiltrating the clans and everything like that. But because she's a member of the Borderlands clan, the Quartz Oak, she is also a skilled scout, and you don't hang around the Yori twins that long without picking up some tricks.
Absolutely. So,
the assassin one felt a bit more like I would just be ditching anybody who followed me into the thing and not have money.
All right. And what is the inheritance for your clan, Kasayori?
The inheritance is your characters can add 1 to might or bravery and always know how to ride and live off the land. Your characters always have easy enough access to enough mounts to outfit an expedition. So we are outfitted for an expedition. And I already added +1 to her bravery.
Oh, okay. So David, tell us about your quick character.
Sorry, I didn't realize I'd muted myself there. Yes, so One-Eyed Jin is a former / current Ronin, depending on exactly how you measure these things. He is one of the long-standing members of the Vagabond Troupe. He is a master in the in the Sevenfold Path dueling school.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone for the champion role for him, which lets me pick an area of expertise for him, and his area of expertise is going to be dueling, martial arts, warfare, depending on how we want to. But that kind of we'll call it martial arts, I think.
Okay. That seems fair. And Alan, anything like tell us something new. We've seen Akagi Tatsu on screen. Very much his body language is uh, uh, the Yojimbo Sanjuro character. But tell us something else about them.
I think he believes he can outdrink anyone.
That a fatal flaw or a realistic expectation?
He thinks it's a realistic expectation.
Fair enough. All right. So I think we come again to that new character move of cross great distances. I think you have to gather your people together, Kaseyori, and travel into those dense, haunted woodlands there around that fallen school. What do you think is the appropriate stat for you to roll for this?
I think it's bravery.
Okay. That makes sense to me. So let's have you roll great cross great distances.
7.
A 7. So on a 7 to 9, the travel is challenging. You arrive on the outskirts of the destination. Everyone must mark either a wound or one of your 3 supply.
Oh, you don't want to go that way.
Do you want to aid?
Yeah. Do you want? Yeah, you have to call for aid, don't you? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, the Imperial Magistrate's wisdom is what I have asked for.
And
I think lore or bravery.
Yeah, I think probably law. Because I think law is +1.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's have you roll.
2d6. That's a 7.
So hoping for. So that will bump us up to a 10 plus. So there are some spirits and things that are in the area outside of the mirror. You are able to negotiate past them to get through there. Tell me, Kaseyori, when we finally see the sundered mirror, what does it look like?
I think the sundered mirror is not a simple mirror of human scale kind of thing. I think it is I think it's maybe the size of like a barn door kind of size, like big, it's a scale kind of thing, and it is a filigreed in this fine silver that has become tarnished. And I think the strange thing is that this mirror is extremely perfect and reflects everything, and it still shines. And yet, no matter what angle you look at it from, there is a crack going straight down across the middle, fine and impossible, but unable, like so very fine, but you can't help but notice it because it seems to reflect all of the colors of the world back down this crack.
And let me ask Jin, like, have you dealt with supernatural stuff on your travels? Is this kind of a new thing? Like what? You fought the foe. You certainly fought like flesh and blood nasties that you could cut down, but this is a little more otherworldly. But have you dealt with this kind of thing?
He's been around when other people have dealt with that sort of thing. You know, what his one of his traveling companions was a traveling monk who used to go around performing exorcisms. Though, yeah, that was never really his area of expertise. He prefers, as mentioned, he prefers an enemy that he can make bleed.
Excellent. And our magistrate, when your group passes through this mirror, what is that like? Like, what is the transition from one place to the other?
It is, though the mirror appears perfect, what is on the other side is a twisted or distorted version of what we've just left.
So there's that weird kind of flipping, like you're stepping through to step to the other side, and the trees here are turned and corkscrew, and there are no straight lines in these woods. All of the pine needles are bent or spiraled as you make your way through here. It is light in the sky here, but it's kind of a grayish light. And you will walk through these woods and out, and you will see ahead of you there is a city. You can see the buildings. You can see the front gate, and you can see that sort of towards the center of that city is a castle. Kazayori, the castle that you saw, that Makiko saw, that Masaru saw in their vision. And I think you know that the fallen daimyo is somewhere within that place. And we cut to all of you kind of carefully walking through the streets of this city, and it is empty. Very much think, if you've seen Spirited Away, that town that the parents, initially walk through, it is like that. Like, this is a city that looks like it's would be normally bustling. There ought to be people out there, but there is no one here. But you also realize that the hour is growing later in the day. So how do you want to approach this? Let me kind of do a once around to check. Yes, Kazuyori.
I would turn to the eyes of the magistrate, I believe.
Yeah, I think what I'm curious about, though, is, do we want to draw people out so we can find out things, or do we want to find a place to enter unobserved? Because at the minute, if I'm not much mistaken, we know that they're here somewhere, but we're not sure where.
I think the mission is, the daimyo is lost, and the empress's command is to bring back his body. But I believe that Kasayori's priority is the one that she'd made to deal with the magistrate, just to rescue the heir if needed, which I think is to enter unobserved.
Fine. Then I will roll. Sorry, Lowell, just to be clear.
Sure.
Are we using the standard free from the yoke, which is whenever one of the agents is called on, they get an advance?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember if they get it before or after.
Oh, well, right. Because the way I read it, I mean, I'm just
Sure.
gain an advance when a house asks for your aid as they zoom in.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Then you would get an advance.
So I've taken a bonus to might to get it to 0.
Okay.
But I will roll plus cunning.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering whether my shadowy criminal and tough vagabonds might be enough to get me advantage on that.
Absolutely. You can mark them as one of your 3 supply. They can be used again.
Okay, there we go. 3d6 plus 2. That's a 10.
That is a 10. So on a hit, you get to pick one. What is
And
it you
there's
want?
no downside. Well, it is to find a way to enter and observe, to identify the most prominent building, because that's where you keep an air, and find a way to enter and observe. So if you tell me what it is,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think
I
the
think
observe is.
definitely it is the castle that lies towards the center of the city. There is a moat around it, and I think you'll realize that when the sun here falls, or when the moon here rises, is when people will manifest. So you need to move quickly to get in there. What is the egress that you use to get into the castle then?
It is a tall bamboo pole, which we plant in the moat and swing gently across into, because I'm assuming it's one of those kind of Japanese sloping stone, and then up we go.
Okay.
So we'll enter on the upper floor.
Okay. And we'll see you kind of open up a window in here, kind of bring yourselves in. You're in the middle, like mid-floor of the castle. And I think even as that's happening, we see the twilight, which kind of gets a deeper silver gray, and then the moon. And I think even as we see that, you can see lights coming on in the town and figures ghostly starting to manifest. And in here, you'll start to see maybe a servant, translucent, appear carrying a basin, walking down the hall. Jin, what are you doing?
I think
Muted.
Jin is is kind of acting as Tatsu's bodyguard essentially at this point. It's kind of staying quite close, keeping an eye out for danger, but largely letting Tatsu take the lead at the moment.
Kaseyori, Tatsu has led you into the castle. You are inside. These ghostly populace have started to manifest. What do you do?
Search for the air.
Okay.
And I turn to my companions and I tell them we must rescue the Mitatsu heir. We must bring leadership back to our clan, to my clan. We must, no matter what the cost. We of the Iori family must restore the honor of our family that our champion has sworn has forsaken. I trust to you, magistrate, and to you, noble Jin, to save them and to honor our sacrifice if it must be called. And then I bow, and I think one of the Iori twins, gestures from down a corridor and lead us on. And I'm essentially saying, our lives are forsaken here, but yours are. One of us, you two must take her back. Basically, we're willing to die.
So, this feels like study. Are you marking the twins to give yourself advantage on that?
Yeah, I think I am liking the twins because they're rogue, shadowy. They're very good at picking their way around. Even as these shades come to life, the Yori twins are shadier still. Um,
Absolutely.
so I roll with my -1 in law, but with advantage. And I will probably. Do I need to aspirate before I roll the dice?
After failing, you can ask.
I don't need to do that because I roll a 7.
Okay. So you have one hold. You may ask a question or declare a detail.
I would like. I mean, obviously, the question is, where is the air? Um, and but perhaps where I would like them to be is,
So tell me where
I
the air is.
think the air is in a shrine, uh, and I think it's a shrine to that fallen celestial servant that was the undoing of our lands and the twisting breath. But here in the mirror world, this shrine still holds true to an inverted version of the celestial servant who has not fallen, whereas the rest of this land's celestial servants have. And therefore, this is why the air remains not corrupted, because they have within we're all in Star Trek Mirrorverse here.
Yeah.
Everything's the other way around.
I think we will see a shot of them. They're tired and exhausted. They have been here. They've found their way into this place for safety. The other things cannot enter into here, but they don't want the air to die, but they have definitely been starving. They're trying to starve the air out, giving them the most meager rations of rice and water and so on. And I think you will, like through a window, see that shrine. And the group of you will move, and you will see that there are a group of guards, spectral samurai, outside the doorway to that shrine. What do you want to do?
Clear the way, Jin.
No problem, boss. And yeah, I think Jin is uh, going to reach into sort of his slightly dingy yukata, pull out a kind of small string of various little wooden prayer tokens, and we'll kind of wrap them around the hilt of his sword, and just mutter under his breath, "Out these bloody work, you old coot," as he kind of strides towards the group of guards with his sort of blade out to his side, and enters a stance.
Okay. So mechanically, I'm going to say that there are like two big groups of troops, and like you can engage and deal with one. Does that seem fair?
That sounds good. Yep.
And certainly, again, then followers you can roll to dispatch them to deal with the other if you want, or do something else. So this is might. Let's have you roll, Jin.
Certainly.
This is your expertise. Are you going to mark a wound to give yourself advantage? I am right on that mechanic, am I?
No, I was actually going to basically use a supply to get I just used the quartz oak lists, and they have strange talismans, I believe, as one of their
Oh, I like that.
their
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
So
So go ahead and roll might with advantage here.
sure thing. Yeah, I think my expertise is I just declare a detail. Oof.
So what'd you
Thanks for
get?
that advantage. That is a total of 8.
Okay. So you are you more intent on taking them down or driving them off?
Um, I think driving them off.
Okay,
We're in here to get in and get
sure.
out. I think.
What do you want for your extra pick there? As you kind of, Han Solo chase them in the corridor with this magic weapon.
Um, I think. I think it's going to be our avenue of escape is
Okay.
clear.
Yeah. So you've kind of pushed them away and separated from the group, but you have a path back to them without too much trouble.
Yeah.
But I do think that uh, you are going to take to harm. I think that you are facing large numbers, and I think that let's see here. I think that there is a moment there towards the end when uh, one of them strikes and shatters those sacred beads, and we see them and spill out and roll out off the floor, and you're like, "Uh-oh, there."
Excellent. Yeah.
Cassie, let me come back to you. We've got, oh, actually, I think we've Makiko, or rather, our magistrate.
Um, is paying no attention to this at all because one of the things I have to do when you begin playing the Imperial Magistrate, say what secret the Emperor wants you to learn or cover up. And I have decided that what they want to know down there on row 42, 43 is can the power of the fractured realm be tapped?
Okay, so what is it you are doing?
I am studying my experience to date.
Okay, unearth forgotten lore.
Oh yeah, if you like. I was going to simply study, but yeah, let's
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
actually that is more appropriate here.
Yeah, I think you're right. So it's roll plus law, which is plus one.
Perhaps this
2d6.
this shrine in particular that the magistrate is studying, because it has some power over the denizens of this realm.
Fine. Understand the power, then you can tap it.
Yeah,
So 2d6. Oh my, that's 6.
that's a 6, huh? So I think
Or
you are.
Kasayori, come here, come here.
uh, Cassiori, just I think while that was happening, has rushed forward to the air and
Well,
has
you've still
quickly.
got one group of guards to deal with.
Oh, one group of guards. Okay,
Yeah.
then mind. Yeah.
So that needs to be dealt with, or that situation is going to get worse here. So
Yeah.
as you do this, I think Tatsu, I don't think you have Kasayori's necessarily assistance.
Nice. There's another group of guards. I think the Yori twins and Cassiori
Yeah.
are much more focused upon the air.
So I'm going to tell you your hard move in just a second. Kasayori, what are you doing to deal with these other guards? Do you want to
Um,
send the twins to deal with them and go into the shrine, or do you want to deal with them yourself? What do you think?
I think it is the twins must deal with them,
Okay.
and Yori goes into will slip past and go into the shrine during the fighting, possible. Which
Then
I don't know if that might be
under orders.
under orders.
Yeah.
Okay.
To send them. They have 2 tags, right?
Yes, they do. They
Then
have
roll with a +2.
rogue, shadowy. Yeah. Sorry, where is that in the under orders? There we go. Roll.
Yeah.
It's an 8.
That is an 8. What do you want as your pick there?
Um, it costs them to lose a tag, or there'll be unfortunate consequences. I think the unfortunate consequence maybe that the alarm is set and the Shadow Daimyo approaches through the castle.
That's good because that's my hard move.
I thought that might be. But I think that the the Yori twins do the ninja fights, like flipping and all of the kind of stuff. And Kasayori steps back against the wall as these shadowy figures, fight other shadowy figures, and then slips past to approach the air. And she's pulling at her clothes as she does so.
And you will see the air sits up, fire in her eyes. She has shaped a piece of wood into a makeshift dagger, and she puts it to her throat, as if to say, if you come close to me, I will cut my own throat rather than being taken.
And Yori pulls off her traveler's outfit, her discreetly reinforced outfit that she's wearing. No, a traveler's outfit. I don't think it's discreetly. It's a traveler's outfit, and throws it to the floor, standing in her undergarments. And she says, "Quickly, my princess, you must pass me your clothes. You are free today, but one must take your place."
And she will, Kase, and you can tell that she's weak, but she doesn't hesitate, and she will grab those up and rush to change, even though she is probably shaking from hunger there. And you are changing, but you'll hear a voice outside. And I think we see you, Tatsu, kind of moving along and looking at the hall and studying where the lines of the shrine are. And that's the point at which you sprout the blade from your side. And you're going to take 2 wounds. If you have armor, you can mark a supply to reduce that down to 1 wound.
There we go.
And you will hear the voice that you heard in the past, that we've heard on screen before, and it is the daimyo. His eyes shark black, his skin gray like the light here, and there is an echo of the foe to him. It is not the foe, but it is something like that, like it's trying to manifest that power, and he strikes you, and knocks you back, and he says, "You dog of a false empress, I will cut down each and every one of you, and then I will begin to do what I have promised Kaseyori that I will do."
Quickly, this way.
Yeah, you want to try and disarm? How do you want to do this?
It is literally, we don't go that way, we go this way.
Okay, you're trying to
evade a dangerous situation.
Okay, so let's have you roll plus bravery.
2d6 plus that. I'm just wondering whether
mark 2 for 3 supply.
Yeah, I think that, yes, I whip out the ceremonial jite and say, "See this? Go that way."
Okay. So
I'd like to roll
with
3d6 plus 2. Oh, that's still only 7. I'm killing it tonight.
Okay. So you get to choose one.
I get to choose one. Yes, I do. Thank goodness for that. So, it's only a temporary reprieve.
Okay. I think there is that Scooby-Doo moment where you do that and then you take off that way. And the daimyo kind of
an alternative. Someone or something else is endangered.
I wanted to keep that for the second disarm. I want to chase.
Oh, you want chase? Fair enough.
Okay. So yeah, there is a pursuit that the daimyo is focused. You have fooled him in the most absurd way, and you're not behaving like a magistrate. Like he clearly expects you to fight him one on one in a kind of duel, and you don't do that because that's not how you were raised. And you take off down the hall, and there is a pause before he shouts to his retinue, "Follow him!" and starts chasing after you. Masaru, not Masaru, Jun,
Yeah.
you have pushed them back, and as you return back, kind of rushing back, the avenue of escape being clear, you see the other group of guards has been dispatched, but you will see Kazayori and the heir in the shrine, and Tatsu being pursued by this fallen daimyo and a set of followers.
Flee, you fools!
Yeah, so I think there's a moment where Masaru kind of regards um the shadow daimyo and kind of cocks his head to one side and says, "Oi, you're Hidden Moon, aren't you? I thought I'd killed all of you bastards." Yeah, I'm going to declare that that perhaps the spirit inhabiting the Shadow Daimyo is a member of the Hidden Moon School from my expertise.
I think that's great. I think that he stops. I think the followers continue to give chase to Tatsu, but he will stop and turn, and he will say, "The broken path, was it? The sevenfold broken paths, wasn't it?" Steps forward, blade out.
Yeah, something like that.
And yeah, you want to try and like force him into a duel, right?
I think so. I think so.
All right. So I think that this is going to be a disarm roll or a find common ground to get him to do that, because he has other like matters at hand, and you want to draw him into this.
Excellent. Yeah. In which case, I think probably I'll go with a disarm because it feels more like I'm doing this to draw him from my allies rather than get it out. So
do you want to mark a supply to get advantage on that?
I get advantage for the next roll I make after revealing the secret, essentially.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
I am just rolling at a 0 for my bravery. And that's a 7.
And he raises his blade. What do you want as the cost there?
I think there's going to be an unforeseen consequence to whatever happens here. There's going to be an unforeseen consequence to it.
I think when he raises his blade up, you hear it shriek, and you realize that you do not want to be struck at all by this blade, that the consequences of that will be dire. Kazayori, what are you doing?
The turning the air into the hands of the in my robes, my traveler's outfit, to the Yori twins, saying, "Go, protect her, flee. I have won. I must fulfill our empress's orders." And I step out dressed as the heir,
Okay.
using my many guises. I can assume a perfect disguise. I have seen them. I have their garb, and I will pursue the noise of the daimyo's rage through the castle as I step out of the
Okay.
shrine protection, and I call out, "Father, face me, you coward! Uh, there must be, you seek to have me, and I am here."
So, uh, let's have you roll for the twins first.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they are under orders, so you
Yes,
roll again with their tags.
that's a 7.
That is a 7. Uh, so what is the 7 to 9 pick for that?
Um,
Are they inclined to call for aid? Because hopefully they're following Tatsu.
Followers don't call for aid.
uh, I think that the Yori twins are experts in their field. Tatsu sort of wandered off and started looking at the runes and everything when we came to the crucial point. I think that it costs them. Um, they lose a tag as the Yori twins are the Yori twins no more. They are simply
Yori.
Yori.
We see that moment. We see one of them fall. The dramatic music. I think we see the air like realizes the gravity of this, but like grips onto them, and as they rush out the way that you came. But what Kazayori will see, here's in the distance the like clearly a chase going on, but you will step out, as you've made that call, and you will see the daimyo standing blade to blade with June. And you can see that they are set eyes at one another to fight. Is there anything you want to do, Kazayori, before I resolve that duel?
Uh, I think that Kathiori will call to One-Eyed Jin and say, "Vagabond, nomad, clanless warrior. This is not your fight. This is a fight of a family." And she's basically trying to convince the others to, because the dishonor of bringing the Imperial Magistrate here and his men and leaving them and having them trapped within the Shadow World would be almost as great as failing to bring back the heir. And you know, we must kill the daimyo as well. So she's hoping to take his place in the duel. But if Jin is too wrapped up in his ancient enmity, then that
Yeah.
works.
What do you think, Jin?
Yeah, no, and Jin's just going to say, "I got here first. If he takes me down, then feel free to do with him what you like."
Okay.
So this is a duel, right? That Jin is involved in. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you lend aid in a duel?
I think you can lend aid, but they have to ask for it.
No, no. I'm just
Yeah.
fictionally putting it out there.
Fictionally, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a martial duel. Blades come out. There is that standing, that waiting, the feet adjusting, blade screaming as it moves just slightly through the air. What is your stance like? Like he's in that classic blade out, front forward, high stance.
I think uh, Jin's blade is kind of held out to his side, almost casual,
Okay.
but not quite. He's kind of yeah, you know, he looks, if you were just kind of like looking at him at a glance, um his stance looks sloppy. He doesn't really look like he knows what he's doing, but sort of a true expert can see kind of the intention behind his the way he moves.
Have you roll?
Sure. That is a 9.
That is a 9. Are you asking for help?
I am not going to risk it.
Okay. I was very excited about that possibility. So there is a cost or a complication to this success.
I think it's got to be that I also suffer a heavy wound.
Yeah, I think that that blade comes in, you strike through him, but you will feel a chill in your soul. You will mark a wound, and you will also realize that you have been tainted. And I think the daimyo body falls, and as it does, it's almost like it slides off of something, and you will see a figure that looks like the surface of a mirror with a crack running down him that is there and like turns to reach for the air, which we will come back to in just one moment. Tatsu, you're running through this palace. You've got figures on your heels. What are you doing?
Am I right in thinking that the heir and the remaining Yori are following me?
No, they have made their way out to safety.
They've gone a different way. Okay. In which case,
you look up and you see a line and a figure and two figures go across a courtyard or something, you know.
Yeah, you might even see the body of the other Yori twin on the ground.
then I think that I need to find some way to hide here. So I think it's disarm again to
Absolutely.
evade this pursuit.
Yeah, you could
and
also
have an
try
opportunity.
unearth forgotten lore and hope that it helps you.
Okay, I thought you might want me to not be on the run while I did that, but yeah, okay.
I'm willing to let you do that, to give that a try.
Okay,
Because
so
it means it means you don't have back-to-back disarm rolls, which is always my preference.
Fair enough. So 2d6 plus 1 is a 6. No one's around to call for aid, so something unfortunate is going to happen.
I think that you find yourself like you run out through a door, you know, with your knowledge of how castles are laid out and so on. But this is a supernatural castle, and
In fact,
you will find yourself on a precipice. You are on the highest point of the castle. There is a ledge in front of you. There is a moat down below, and there are these figures coming behind you, and you can tell that you either have to stand and fight them or you have to make a desperate leap.
I will make a desperate leap.
Then roll disarm with disadvantage.
So 3d6.
Are you marking an item?
Well, I've already marked 3.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think I'm done, aren't I?
Yeah.
So 3d6 disadvantage plus 1 for bravery. That's a pair of 3s, drops to 5.
Drops to a 5.
Oh no, hang on. Oh, yeah, 5. Yeah, 5. Yeah.
5. Let us see. You may select, since we don't have it set, you may select your death move.
Oh, went the crowd. Yes. What is my death move?
There, you may select one because we don't have one set for the magistrate.
Oh, right.
You can use a
Okay.
magistrate or another one. Go and
Ooh.
take a quick look at those because
Yeah,
it might
so
make an impact. I'll have you decide first.
yeah, well, given that, just to cut to the chase, I think if you're okay with this, David, I think I might choose when you reveal your mission's final step. If the party does it, the mission succeeds.
What is the final step?
I think the final step is to find another mirror and crash through it. Pardon me.
Okay. Uh, uh, so I think that's maybe a flash of revelation that might come to the other PCs as you fall.
Well,
Kazayori.
I was just curious if we were talking about the magistrate's mission, the
Yeah.
unearth the power of the thing. Of
Which
the
one do you
Yeah,
want, Alan?
that's a fair point. Um, Reveal your mission's final step. If the party does it, the mission succeeds. Yes, I think I'd stay the same. Find a reflective surface, burst through it, and that will release some of the power of this into the real world. You just can't use the fractured mirror.
Perfect. Kazayori, this figure, this manifestation of this place, the sundered mirror itself, the consciousness behind it is before you, even as your daimyo's body hits the floor.
this reflective surface, you say,
Yes,
stands for me. Yeah. Uh, and maybe the magistrate's echoing words, shouts ring through the halls as he then there's a short scream and goes silent, and this blank void comes towards it, and Kasayori holds on to a hidden blade, disguised weapon, which she, I think, maybe looks at it, looks at the mirrored person, and realizes that it will be of no use against this creature. Here's the magistrate's words, and simply runs and dives straight into its torso.
let's,
Uh, like a
yeah.
graceful kind of like, full on, in. And hopefully, I think that's maybe a disarm,
Yeah,
perhaps.
let's do a disarm a potential cost. You can choose bravery, feel good. Do you have are you marking something to
Uh, a strange talisman that was said to have come from the School of the Hidden Moon, and bears its logos. Yeah.
okay.
Why have I lost connection to the? Oh, I know why. Because my VPN only paused for an hour. There we go. Oh no, I'm stupid. Yeah, I decided to go back to my old setup with two different computers just for the sake of being able to roll in the one.
Mm-hmm.
One. Ugh, I'm going to have to abuse my power to get that particular domain whitelisted. That's a 12.
Holy moly. I think this figure is expecting you to fight, is expecting that. And when you rush at them, it's not at all what they expected. And you see them suddenly realize that this is not the air. This is not some weak waif that they were expecting. And your body hits theirs and dives through. And I think there is the sound of shattering along that crack.
Ooh,
And
think I dive through and the talisman wrapped around her neck catches, right? And then like stays embedded as it looks down and Casayori disappeared and it begins to splinter around where the talisman's embedded.
And I think, June, you see this whole thing as that crack spreads across the whole realm, splits open, and you go tumbling out back into the real world in that path. And this great mirror, the size of a barn door, shatters into a million pieces. Even though it's metal, even though it's not glass, it shatters into fragments. And we see Kasayori, we see the twinless Yori, we see the air, we see Yujun, but we see no one else.
Well, I wonder if what it does for a realm's turmoil when the Imperial agent dies.
Yeah, I think that definitely counts as a singular person being killed by a supernatural force. So I'm going to put another Doom on the Doom track and another point of turmoil on the turmoil track. Let's take our second.
What have you done with my magistrate?
Let's take 5 and we'll come back. So we zoom out and we return to the actions, the efforts of the other 2 clans. So you get to do a clan move with advantage. Silver Lily, what would you like to do?
I think that we are going to make that shipment to the dragon to make good on our promise.
Absolutely.
That will be a logistics role, I presume, to get that.
What is your mood?
My mood is currently +2.
Good. There's almost no chance it could fail.
Indeed. And that is a 10.
That is a 10. So that livestock arrives. The Empress is pleased. Your favor will go up by 1. And you may mark a point of progress on the progress track as a second step is made. I think this reassures the Empress, who's been having bad news. I think reports have reached her by this point of the death of her father figure, the imperial magistrate, and she will enter into a period of grieving there. The news of this cannot be kept quiet, which is why the turmoil and the doom clock go up. Glass Iris, you may roll a clan move with advantage.
Yeah, what I'm looking for is a move I thought existed, which was about making a resource appear less valuable. And
subterfuge. Yeah, okay. It's the first one under subterfuge.
Oh, so it is. This may be a bridge too far, but I want to try to, given that we've got a foothold in the Temple of Tumbling Waters, I would like to make the possession of it less attractive.
With the intent that they'll leave? Is that?
With the intent that you told me that having got fleeting possession of the ground floor, that maybe the number of obstacles we'd have to overcome in order to retake it would be reduced.
So I think you've got 2 choices here in terms of things. I think you're already like fictionally positioning that you're in good shape. I think another, like if you were to do that again, I think that kind of doubles down. But here's what I'll say is if you want to resolve this at the clan level, I think you would be given what you did before, in a position to do claim by force with advantage.
Yeah, is claim by force as dangerous as it used to be?
It is, but on the other hand, if you roll well, it's not as bad as it used to be.
Okay, so because I've got grasp -1 is
Okay.
the reason I'm asking.
But you're rolling with advantage.
I'm rolling with advantage. So what could possibly go wrong? Okay, let us send a chosen band of dedicated individuals to assault the Tower of Tumbling Water, Temple of Tumbling Waters.
Right.
3d6.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this. The other thing I will say about the fleeting control is if you do fail, it will be a soft move rather than a hard move.
That'll be a novel change. That's oh my goodness me, that is a 10 -1 becomes 9.
That is a 9. So on a 7 to 9, you choose 2.
Okay. Um uh, uh well, obviously we cause chaos and suffering, raise turmoil.
Absolutely.
That's the easy gimme. Um
Turmoil exceeds control.
I think
Doom.
your the forces you use must stay here until the start of the next year. If they leave or are removed before then, you lose control of the resource.
So
Because
give me
we're
the
hoping to
yeah,
move back in.
yeah. Give me the narrative of what this looks like.
Well, we know that those wards cleared the ground floor. And so what I think we see are a mixed group of the glass iris. So not just Shugenja, but also the ninja spy, some samurai warriors, um, clearing floor by floor, so that the Sugenja that can then move the wards forward. And it's all about that kind of leapfrog. Clear this area, place the wards. Clear this area, place the wards, and drive them back. Drive them back into the walls. Really.
I think it is an exhausting period, and I think every Shugenja you have is dispatched to push and set and make sure that those stay in place. Like it costs the attention of your clan.
Status quo ante is what we're after.
Yeah. So if by the time that the court happens, you will gain, if you're still there, if something hasn't happened, you will gain a favor. Kazayori.
Fiori is strangely missing after the return of the heir. When Daimyo, I should really have written these names down. When Daimyo Hisato returned from the mirror world, uh, retrieving his heir and ending the problems of the clan. And I would like to put Kasayori into yet another role.
Yeah.
As leader, as she maintains an elaborate disguise, aided by the scars and the marks of the sundered mirror, disguising herself as Daimyo Hitaru with the aid of the heir, who she will marry to Tatsu's heir and link the imperial families that way. And yeah, now Kasayori is going to act as the leader of the clan, pretending to be the fallen daimyo.
So what task looms on the horizon?
Well, we have completed the Empress's mission, so I
gain a favor.
Yeah. But the realm, do I get to remove my need of leadership thanks to retrieving?
Oh yeah, I think I think that's a surplus you found, so that can erase a need.
Yeah. So that proves my mood up to 1. Because I also did my start of the year gain scouts thing as well, to raise my need for scouts. But the land is in dire peril. The Empress's project is on the precipice of doom, thanks to the infighting it was all. And I just need to remind myself what it is that we need: surplus, blessings, jade, justice, order, peace, spies, or spirits. I think that the Sundered Mirror, the Sundered Mirror, the Hellpine clan has allowed darkness to fester, and the spirits of the School of the Hidden Moon to be corrupted on their doorstep, on our doorsteps, for far too long. And I think if it's possible, because you mentioned there were spirits there, I would like to take by force those spirits and claim them as a surplus, if that works as a thing, if I'm not jumping ahead too far there.
I like that. I like that. So let's do that clan move for claim by force. That is with grasp.
Yeah, it's never gone wrong for me before.
Are you asking someone to help?
Yes, I am asking someone to help. I am asking I think the Glass Iris are perhaps would be my normal allies here, but they are perhaps too engaged with their own undertakings here.
Little occupied. Yeah.
I think I turn to the Silver Lily. Afraid.
Yeah, and I think we will aid Quartz Oak have been staunch allies to us. I think perhaps we try and help out with the what's the word they use, the perception management around this this action, ensuring that this is seen as a necessary
an act of war, but a cleansing of
yes,
the propaganda arm of it. Yeah,
exactly.
And perhaps ensuring that people don't pay too much attention to the daimyo's fine mask that he now wears.
Yeah. So it's grasp. You're rolling with advantage. And now, before you roll, I'm going to ask David. David, are you in fact helping or hindering Kasayori and the Quartz Oak?
I am helping.
I wanted to check.
Cool. Okay. That is a 9.
That is a 9. So you need to choose 2 from claim by force.
And the die was the highest one.
You don't worry about that.
Oh, no, I don't worry about that. Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting stuck in the old one. It's not completely ours yet. It's going to take time to I think this is a process of cleansing and restoring the School of the Hidden Moon, perhaps. Like my forces go in there, the spirits are there. I have my own Shugenja who are doing the rituals and everything, but it's a case of almost rebuilding the School of the Hidden Moon, reclaiming it, purifying it, and weathering the spirits' wrath until they are cleaned and become cleansed and become positive spirits again rather than contaminated ones. So I will stay there for that duration. And I think the exhaustion causes my clan to take disadvantage forward. So I'll take it. Yeah. Because it's going to be a severe step there. But it will, however, keep Champion Yuri fully occupied for the next year.
Reasonable. Let's check in. Glass Iris, do you have another move you want to do, or should we move to court? Where are you at?
I think the sooner I get to court, the better.
Silver Lily?
Yeah, I think I'm good with moving on to court as well. Actually, do I want to? Um,
Also, Kazuyori, don't forget to take your advance for taking your
Yeah.
unit roll.
Just to confirm, based on my choices there, I'll finish that claim by force at the end of the year, right? And then
Correct.
I would gain the surplus spirits, which I could then donate to the Emperor's project.
Yes.
And
The only problem being that now that turmoil is above control, everybody rolls logistics with disadvantage.
Sorry about that. I was just double checking. Yeah, sorry about that. I was just double checking a couple of different ones. So yeah, I am going to I'm going to present the glass iris with a it will be, I think, um, a statue to adorn their reconquered capital in honor of the fine work that they have done. So you can get a surplus of morale, Alan, and I will gain an influence over you.
You can gain up to 2 influence. So,
oh, right. Yeah, sorry. I was actually, yes, that makes sense. Because I was reading it as in up to 2 influence rather than up to 2 points of influence, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So yeah, no, that's cool. Awesome.
So let's move to the end of the year. Let's move to that holding court. Alan, I don't think you've decided where our winter court is being held yet. So when this winter court is being held, a solemn one honoring the death of the Emerald Magistrate, the appointment of new figures, where is this being held?
Well, I think given that the glass iris remains respected despite everything, and our move hallowed, we are granted great reverence for religious duty and all the rest. I think it is in the newly refurbished Temple of Tumbling Waters.
Absolutely. I don't think anything bad can happen as a result of that.
Exactly. You know, what better way to demonstrate our successful clearing of the building?
In that case, let us begin with you as we come to the end of the year here. What is your favor at?
My favor is currently as good as it's been, -1. But I remembered the move finally, hallowed. When the emperor is holding court, you may pick one. Praise the emperor and their virtues and gain advantage on the favor roll. We are definitely praising the empress for all her insights and clarity, because we got that wrong in the first year. So clan moves. Oh, sorry, no, favor. There it is. Holding court, 3d6. Oh, Jesus. That is 3 - 1.
So you are acknowledged there, but I think people see, even though you wanted to show off the tower, I think people see how threadbare and desperate and precarious your position is.
Yeah, because we still haven't manage to meet that need for lumber to do you know, it's all kind of paper screens.
Yeah. And I think we will see once again that the Nagai family, again, raising in status against you. And in fact, I think I'm going to give them influence over you.
And I will remove the single influence that we continue to have over the quartz oak.
All right. Then let's come to the Silver Lily family.
Yeah, our favor is currently 0, and I don't think we do anything fancy with the roll, so that's a 4.
That is a 4. There is again a certain amount of disgruntlement. There's some people talking about you having kind of thrown around your courtly virtues in this, and you're going to lose an influence on each other person that you have influence on. You still have a strong control, but you can feel it slipping away. And I think again, it is that Sunken Rose clan who are trying to whisper to maybe get their status increased to serve the Empress and become the new people that are looked to. Quartz Oak, what is your favor?
Favor is a +1 now, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I'll roll +1, and can one of us not be beneath the Empress's notice? We'll see. Yes, one of us, gains a task, which is its own burden, isn't it?
And the Empress, I think, will.
And this is the Daimyo Hitatsu.
Yeah.
Who there, of course.
We are pleased that you were able to retrieve the daimyo as I asked. It is regrettable that we lost such a great figure in this, but the knowledge that his son and his line will continue on in such an honored position is something of a redemption for me. I need you to bring order to the land. I need you to work to reduce the turmoil in some way, whether that's distributing food or rooting out bandits, something. We need to calm the populace before this gets out of control.
And I think the conceit is that the daimyo wears this mask now from his injuries in the Sundered Mirrorlands, and she wears like his armor that bulks her out slightly, right? And the Yori twin stands by, and she nods, and he speaks on her behalf. And occasionally she writes things, and it's simply a bow and say, "We'll be honored to have the son of Tatsu join our clan, and we will bring order to the land, Empress."
And that's where we're going to stop for today. We will take up next time with the meeting of the minds. We will be ending about a half hour early. David has mentioned that he might be running a little bit late, but we'll keep that in mind. But we'll get rolling. We are at 4 out of 5 on the Doom track, which seems a more likely case than actually getting the favor, the fulfillment of the project done. Especially given the disadvantage of logistics until turmoil is brought under control. So let's also, I do want to mention too, Alan, now that a lot of things have changed with your character, you might consider changing your role we'll talk about that at the beginning of next time. I don't know if the same for Masaru.
Yeah, no, I was reading the same thing. I think it's time, Ronin, when you realize a core part of your clan's teachings are broken or a fabrication. Say what harm the falsehood is causing, and you say which other clan or family might know the truth.
Yeah, that seems appropriate. We'll come and check in on that at the beginning of next time. So let's do quick stars and wishes. Alan?
Stars, I like this. I think it's there are some neat changes to the moves that I think take freedom from free from the yoke and just give it not just a kind of setting related twist, but I think there are some mechanical smoothings going on here. I think that I think that the use of equipment and gear and resources is just so much simpler now. So good for you.
Three supplies seems like a lot until you get to a scene and suddenly bad things start happening. So I really like the pressure.
Exactly. In terms of wishes, I think that I would quite like a zoom in for the glass iris because we resolved the temple with a bit of cut and thrust, and I am conscious that we did get a clue that the castle of the coastal that there are some fragments of the Imperial Library down there on the wall.
The shanties, yeah.
The shanties, exactly. So maybe that might be somewhere for my Ronin to go.
Okay. David?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed our Zoom in today. It was it was nice to have that sort of a nice action scene, as it were. That felt very very fun. I liked how it all shook out. I really liked the what's the is it Kagekure? The becoming the daimyo was a really great move from Will there. It was I think it was as fun as it would have been to have a zoom in dealing with the tower. I think it was probably the right call where we were to do it as a clan action essentially. So I think that was cool. But although I will also it would be cool to see Makiko get a proper scene next time. Said a nice session there. Wishes. I'm just looking forward to sort of bringing everything to an end next time. I say looking forward to bringing it to an end is not quite the right word.
Yeah.
The end will be
seeing
fun.
The turning of the age
exactly.
Is always a nice capper.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. From a kind of system level wish,
sure.
I think the one thing I feel, and I think this has been I feel like I'm navigating it
sure,
because I have the clan moves to play it off, but it does feel like the ability to kind of do diplomacy at the clan level is a bit lacking.
Okay.
Whether it's a way of just leveraging getting influence more, or I don't know quite what it is, but it feels like there is a missing move at that clan level
do you think it's about generating influence, or do you think it's about spending that influence?
I suppose that generating influence is a bit tricky if you don't have, like I do, a lot of tools for doing it as part of the clan. And I think a lot of the time, spending influence probably does achieve broadly what that move would need to do. So maybe it is more at a move that's, even if it's maybe just a kind of an addition to the what's the kind of
read the wind
law check. Read the wind. That's it. Maybe if it's just a like an addition to read the windows. Maybe if it's like, how do we get, as well as how do we get surplus, how do we get influence over something? It just feels like there's
You can
there's
spend
not a,
influence to ask a question,
yeah. But yeah,
which is
that's
a
it.
with the wind, isn't it?
Yeah. But it'd be good to explicate that. Maybe even also have for Read the Wind as a possibility, it would be gain influence on an NPC faction.
Yeah, so something like that. Like I said, just something that makes it, because it does feel at the minute like you kind of, which I think possibly makes more sense in some of the earlier things. It does feel like you kind of have to start fighting people to achieve anything. A lot of the time, but yeah, that's just my one thought. Like I said,
Okay.
I don't feel like it's been too much of a problem with me because I've specifically been playing the courtier clan, and we have a lot of levers to pull on that front. But
that's a good thing for me to keep an eye on. I
yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that. Yeah. And Will.
Just to vocalize the thought I was having during that, I think they've got a point. I wonder if it's related to I think there is definitely scope for the NPC factions to be more in that scope of using influence and stuff like that, because it feels very around that lend aid kind of stuff is where it mostly exists, and it's all. I'm happy with the player facing, particularly in a short run kind of thing, but the NPC factions
Yeah.
would feel more like sort of part of the more agency themselves, like agents to be played against and stuff like that.
Well, and potentially we kind of might turn that, like if you could, because I do think mechanically the idea exists that you could spend an influence on an NPC clan to get advantage on a roll by calling them into assist kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
anyway,
in fact, I think I did do that with the Sunken Rose.
Yeah.
For that thing, but yeah, it's getting that pump started. I think can be difficult if you don't have specific moves that give you influence, or it comes up in role play.
But what I did for free from the yoke was for every surplus, I attached a drive, and every need I attached a drive for those NPC clans. So in effect, I turned them into fronts. So need surplus spies create a hard move related to the impact those spies have on you. Need opium, a front that advances their urge to take opium fields or whatever.
Yeah, let me think about that, especially because we've got some of those traits on there that already that we might use to connect up to that.
But anyway, for my own stars, the whole zoom in felt very, very anime. Right down to the magistrate suddenly exploring a hidden agenda, and then fleeing down the chaos of it all was, the eldritch figure. And Jin was my favorite character of the entire series, frankly, particularly with his monk backstory, which I want to watch that anime, with the Jin and the monk. I was not expecting the Imperial Magistrate to fall in combat. This leads into a question, which is, do we get another Imperial agent in this age, or do we have to wait for the turning of the age before that happens? Question
That's
I
a
hadn't
good question. Yeah, I have to look at that.
My last star would be I quite enjoy it is a game with a lot of moves and things and machinations, and I enjoy machination games and stuff and everything, right? But I have also enjoyed that we are cooperative because we established that we were friends and naive, and our characters were cooperative. And I enjoyed playing Kaseori this session as somebody who was perhaps not aligned with the senior people in a clan, but was pursuing the greater good sort of thing, which I think is an interesting angle to play.
Yeah.
My wishes, change of the ages, we'll see that. The lend aid move feels better by far. I just want to add that in there. I wonder one thing is that this project, I like this project a lot in its themes and its how the doom is raised. I find the fiction for how you succeed in the project quite hard to fictionally justify in terms of it being this cleanser darkness from the land and spending surpluses to do it. somehow feels less. It feels a bit of a stretch sometimes, particularly given the surpluses that you start off with. They're not necessarily aligned with it. The only one of us who's ever really had any surplus that can go for it is Alan's clan because of the blessings and the Eugenia. I think I haven't looked at the other projects, but some of the triggers, perhaps in terms of expose a secret conspiracy or find cleanse an actual source. Beyond acquiring a surplus of.
Oh, interesting.
I'll be honest with you, I think the way that it's designed is that you would zoom in or have a clan move to get the resource that then would be the cleaning out of some pit of infamy.
Yes.
And the resource just becomes a very simple proxy for filling the clock.
But I think what's going on is we do need to have like explicit in that step is when you give a surplus, say how it is helping or what problem is being solved, how it is being applied, and how it is like that. It's me moving too fast, and we really need to stop and make that have weight. And maybe like in describing what those surpluses do, like I like what you're saying, like maybe giving some examples. These surpluses are being used to do these things, maybe in the project description, some examples of things.
Yeah, and I mean,
the increase in the Doom ones are really evocative.
Yeah.
The increase in the clock, the project success is kind of like spend a tag,
I think that's maybe like I think to kind of echo as well what Alan was saying. I think that's maybe kind of maybe it's getting that like if you say if you're the zoom in scene you do is like rooting out a corrupt magistrate or whatever, then that essentially gives you a justice surplus, which you can then.
But then actually, what you're saying there, I think actually that combined with now I get what you're saying is, as we have that list of things that cause a doom track, we would have like root out a corrupt magistrate, and then in parentheses we would put the couple of surpluses that might do that.
Yeah.
Feed the people, and then the surpluses that might like have a list. Not that they have to be all ticked off, but that you immediately know, oh, I'm doing this for this reason.
That's just flipping that because it's neater to have the surpluses listed and then challenge the players to say, how are you going to meet that? And then you say, oh, well, we will seek out a corrupt magistrate to meet the justice one. Do you see what I mean? And there are many ways to get justice, whereas if you start with the idea of rooting out a corrupt magistrate, that narrows down the scope of what's on the table in terms of the activity we could be undertaking.
All right, let me look at that and see how we do it in a way that is most enjoyable fictionally.
I was going to say I don't think it's necessarily I don't think it necessarily needs like a rule change or anything. I think it's more just a kind of case of reframing, refocusing the sort of zoom in.
No, but that's really good, and I appreciate that input because that does help me visualize like how to get that to be stronger.
There's also a sense in that read the wind, whatever it is, when you can read the wind to find where a surplus is. How could I?
Yeah.
Often that's where can I go, rather than what can I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do see I see your points. I think it is a case of my lack of familiarity with the mechanics of Legacy generally. Like I grok it, I think, but I don't have much direct experience of how that works, and I think it's the framing of it. And it's the because I would say, in my opinion, throughout our play here, the project has kind of been a bit of a background thing, frankly, that we've I think the closest that we came to directly doing it was when I was Glass Iris. Was some influence. Give him the blessings. No, I'm not going to do that. And then we saw that spiral out of into turmoil and grief, which I enjoyed a great deal. But
yeah, it definitely game to game differs on how much people put the projects in the driver's seat versus how much that is secondary. I think one of the things by having the threats that we do now for each of the clans at the start, that does kind of put the project in the sidecar which I think is good because there is a little bit of tension to that because it does cause some thermometers to go up. But yeah, we need to think about
Look
that.
where we are now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I am going to stop the recording